Good evening and welcome everyone to another live broadcast of the Black Women in Architecture series. My name is Morgan Medley. I'm a senior at Enloe High School, which is located in Raleigh, North Carolina, with the dreams and aspirations of becoming an architect. Today's show will focus more on the HBCU college life for a woman student of color attending an HBCU specifically for architecture. And tonight I will be talking to Ms. Rutsa, a fourth year architecture student from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and she attends Tuskegee University. And I will also be talking to Ms. Yashira, also a fourth year architecture major from Columbus, Ohio, and she attends Howard. So please welcome my guests. How are you guys today?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm good. So just gonna ask you guys a few questions, and I want it to be more so of just like a conversation because it's more about just getting to know, advice and what it's like for when I'm ready to graduate. So I just want to start off from like where you guys from and what made you interested in architecture.
I guess
You
I'll
wanna
go
first,
first.
Rutsa?
So I'm like you mentioned, I'm originally from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, but I currently live in Miami, Florida. What made me really interested in architecture is because I wasn't really the best at other subjects in school, such as science or reading. So because I was very artistic, and I liked math, so I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So that's why I attended Miami-Dade College, which is a local school in Miami, before actually going to a full university to try it out. So and then I ended up liking it. So that's why I ended up staying in architecture.
That's great. From the time that I was like a little kid, I've always played with like Legos and like the building blocks, so I was always like a hands-on learner, and everything else bored me. Like I was just like, those students that would just like do everything really fast and then bother everybody else. So like the only thing that really like entertained me, I guess, was like building and like seeing construction and seeing like how everything is built. So that's what made me interested in architecture. And I couldn't really like decide if I wanted to go through like the engineering side or if I wanted to really be an architect. So I just had to do that research myself and just like make that decision.
So did you guys have any like actual people you looked up to when you realized that architecture was what you wanted to do?
I looked up to my uncle. He pretty much does it like an architectural technical school thing, but I knew absolutely no one in the field of architecture that I looked up to. Of course, until I transferred to Tuskegee, I'm like, wow, there are such great, amazing Black architects. But before going into architecture, I did not know anything about it. But the thing now is that I appreciate it so much, and I do encourage people like you who are really seeking that knowledge before actually attending architecture school.
Right. Same with me. I feel like the only architect I've ever seen that was Black was Moody Nolan in Columbus, Ohio. So like thankfully I just like, saw him and then kind of realized I was like, okay, well if he's like doing all this, then I want to be an architect too. So that was the person I looked up to.
My uncle lives in Ohio, so when when I told him that I wanted to be an architect, he found out and he just like introduced me to the actual firm. That was like one of the first firms I'd ever heard of that had people of my skin color that actually work there and that run it. So it was really shocking, and that was also just a motivation for me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
What classes did you guys take while you were in high school to prepare you for like college courses?
I took, because I knew that I was going to go into architecture, even though I did not really know much about it, but I did do like the basic research of knowing how much years it require and things like that. So I pretty much took any Photoshop class, any digital design class, so I could get my hands on with that. So anything that helped me just grow artistically. So those were the classes that I were more towards?
My like school system didn't really have like anything like that was designated for architecture, like or construction even. So it was really like I just had to get my foot into college experience. So my senior year I did a dual program. So half the day I was in college and half the other half of the day I was in high school. So that kind of prepared me for, you know, college life.
Because I know, like, when you were saying you didn't know if you wanted to do the engineering side or the architecture side, I think it was my sophomore year, or maybe it was my junior, but I took the drafting architecture class, and then I also took drafting engineering. And I was still trying to weigh out the options that I like. And, you know, that's why I stuck more with architecture because, I don't know, it just seems like the engineering side is just a little too much. Like, I just can't get into it. And when I went on a tour to A&T and we went into, they had landscape architecture, I was still trying to, you know, process if that was something that may be interesting me. But I think for now, I just want to stick to just like the original straight architecture until I can find like something else, I guess, that fits me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll really like learn down the line the sides you want to go, like the path you want to take with architecture. Like I'm glad I was literally like trying to do the same thing with A&T, the architectural engineering. But I was just like, you know, I don't want to keep myself in that box when I could be able to expand for the same amount of time.
And that's what I was telling my dad. I was like, I didn't want to just limit myself because maybe I wanted to stay in state or just because I wanted to go to A&T. I was like, I need to go outside the box. And if this is something I actually want to do, I want to go for it. So that's why I kind of just like, it's still an option, but not.
I think one of the best things about architecture is the fact that you can go into many fields. So you can still be a student studying architecture, and you could also do architectural engineering or landscape or interiors. It has so many like it's such a big umbrella that you can go into whatever you like. So
and like one of the good things about my high school is like they offer so many different classes, and like right now I'm taking an interior design class, and with the unit we're learning we're focusing on architecture, and it's just funny to see how all of them kind of like line up together, I guess, and like how they all have something to do with each other. And like I've used different Adobe softwares, and then I also took a computer engineering class to see if that was something I was interested in. So I would say it's just good to know that like there's different types of options. If that's
yeah.
And I'm glad that your school have like all that program, because I'm just like, what school you went to?
Yeah, because you're right. You're gonna be ahead. Like I feel like I was just like thrown into like the ocean when it comes to like architecture school. I had to like learn everything from scratch, and there's peers, you know, you're sitting by peers that have gone to architecture school already, that have already did like their whole entire high school was technical high school in architecture, you know? So it kind of like you have to run and play catch up while you're also still learning at the same time. So like really take advantage of that. And it sounds like you are taking advantage of that. I'm really proud of you for that.
And that's just a shout out to my school. Like I love Enloe High School, and I just like how it's like a magnet school. So we have like CTE courses and like different like career clusters that you can take. And I remember one time, I think it was my freshman year, I was kind of like into like entrepreneurship and like personal finance, and then I got into drafting. So it was just good to just like know that I could bounce around to like different types of things, to just like test the waters and see if this is what I like or if that's what I like. And right now I took like all my drafting architecture class. I finished those. Now I'm taking like an advanced studies class. We have a year-long project, and then I'm taking my last architectural engineering course. So it's just fun, and it's good knowing that
you have an architecture degree by the end of your high school.
Right. Like you're just gonna be like relaxed, like feet up. Definitely not feet up, but you're gonna be a little more like relaxed than like definitely I was. Yeah.
And like they give us certification tests that we can take to get certified in the program or not. And I know we have like right now, well, last year we did Revit and Inventor, and then before that we used AutoCAD and then SketchUp. It's just a lot. it's a lot that there is to offer, and I actually really do enjoy it because I don't know if like how I would deal with just being thrown into the deep end, like not knowing anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Different schools are like, like playing catch up, I feel like, when it comes to their architectural programs. I know like Howard, when I first came in, like it was a little more, lax, like, or behind, I guess, like because like we started off like hand sketching. I'm like, it's what year is it? Like no one's hand sketching anymore. Like where's the programs? And we had to like slow by slow like learn the programs, like AutoCAD first and then Revit, like finally our third year, like we were dipped into, and I felt like it was kind of too late, like we already needed to know those things in order to be like competitive in the job market, you know? So that's really like shout out to you for that, because you are going to be like, that's something, Revit, like that's every job is looking for an architecture student that knows Revit. That's definitely something that I would advise everybody to learn now. And it's like, it's free, it's easy, like there's guides everywhere on YouTube, to teach yourself even.
It was just when I went to go visit Howard, I think it was last February, and I was just naming off all the stuff that I've like either I've done or that I know how to do like really, really well. And I was telling him how I prefer drawing stuff by hand. I don't know about you guys, but I can't, like, I know how to do it on the computer, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's just difficult. But I don't know. I like being able to like sit down and like sketch out stuff and like use like a T-square and all this different stuff. I just prefer that a lot more than actually having to use a mouse and like look at the computer screen.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
The mouse helps me. But yeah,
it's definitely a skill set.
Go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
I'm saying like drawing is definitely a skill set to have, because you definitely do need to know how to sketch out your ideas in a really fast way that the computer won't be able to do that for you.
Yeah. I'll just say the ability to draw is very important, because you're gonna need it regardless, but also getting those computer skills will really help you when you come to like the office space. So like just like me, I was better with hands, but then I had to really get into using the computer and learning how to use it, because that's what a lot of, I would say, firms were looking for. So
yeah.
So what schools did you guys apply to, and like where did you guys get accepted?
Ooh, can I remember?
Like I mentioned before, I started in Miami-Dade College, so I went there for 2 years. They had given me a full ride, so I was like, full ride, I am going. And also FIU, which is Florida International University, which is located here in Miami as well. So I applied to those two. So Florida International University denied me. I'm like, me? Why would you deny me? But I got into Miami-Dade College, and it was actually one of the best experience that I had. Because the thing is that they teach, it's only a 2-year program, but they took every semester as it is 1 year. So things that students would learn in one year, I would learn in one semester. So when it came to me transferring to Tuskegee, that was super useful. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I really can't remember how many I applied to, but I do remember that I applied to University of Cincinnati. I really wanted that architecture program. I didn't really care about Howard, but I did. I'm not say I didn't care, but like it wasn't my top, 3. I wanted to be in. It was Pratt Institute, University of Cincinnati, and I think University of Chicago as well. But I'm glad Howard accepted me, and I went with Howard. Now that I really think about it now, and that like it's way more diverse, and like the more that I get into architecture, I'm like, I really wanted this like grounding, and then going into the space that is architecture after.
Yeah, that's one thing about me. Like I told my parents when I was applying to colleges, I was like, I'm only going to apply to HBCUs because that's all I'm considering, because I'm so used to being in such a like, my school, it's diverse, but it's like, since I'm taking like more advanced and hard classes, it's not, the classroom isn't as diverse, and I'm so used to being around not my people, I guess. So it's like it's really awkward, and sometimes it can be really uncomfortable. So I told them like from the jump, I was like, I want to be around people of my color that want to do what I want to do. Right. So we applied. We applied to a couple. I think it was just UNCG that was the PWI, but then we did A&T. Winston-Salem State and North Carolina Central University. Those were just like some backup schools just in case. Nothing really, no other school accepted me. But I got into Hampton, Norfolk State, A&T, Morgan State, and Tuskegee. And those were the 5 HBCUs that I was really considering. I was considering Howard at one point, but they rejected me. And then, what's it called? Florida A&M. Florida A&M I applied, but you know they were still doing like test scores and stuff like that, so that really wasn't like an option, I guess. But I'm just ready to like sit down and actually make that decision and like start my actual college career because I'm just excited for the whole process, and I'm excited to start being like looking forward to actually going to class and being comfortable with who's in the classroom with me.
Yeah.
So did you intentionally choose an HBCU, or was it just because, you know, that was the school that
I just feel like it was God, because the way that I end up knowing about Tuskegee was through several students in my high school. But it never clicked because I already made my mind to go to Miami-Dade College. And then when I met Mr. Tony, and then he was like, okay, we have this scholarship, please apply for it. So I applied for it. Oh, Mr. Tony. I applied for it. And he was just there supporting me. He's still calling me randomly just to check up on me. So the reason why I'm in Tuskegee is because of Mr. Tony. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and I had a college advisor at my high school, so he kind of was like, you know, you said I feel like you're a Howard girl. I'm like, like I don't even know what that means, but like I'll apply just to like get you off my case. And you know, like I was like, it's an architecture school, it's at HBCU, like you know, it's in DC. That's a great architecture city, you know. So I was just like, if I want to be out of my comfort zone, I'd rather be around, you know, people that look like me, and I'm out of my comfort zone. You know, so that was the final decision for me.
So did you guys look into like your school's actual program, or did you just go in there like blindsided and just didn't know anything about it?
I looked into Tuskegee's website, and I saw that they were building this house, and I was like, I want to do that. So it just like, because I wanted to do that so much, I was like, okay, I definitely want to go there. And I was looking at the different videos that they had on YouTube, and they had one where students were putting up this background wall, and I felt like that was super interesting. I was like, okay, they definitely care about their students, so that's why I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be there.
Yeah, I definitely went in blindsided. I don't know. Now that I think about it, like I definitely like didn't do as much research as like my peers did when we talk. So yeah, I didn't know anything about the program. All I knew really was that I wanted to be in DC and I wanted to be a Howard. So yeah, I didn't look too much into the program, even though I should have. I advise everyone to look into their program.
That's one thing my dad's really big on. Like he's like printed out all like the curriculum requirements. He's all the classes that I would have to take. Like he's just, him and my mom are just on it. And when we visited Hampton, I got into Hampton, and when we visited Hampton and Howard last year before COVID, they like talked to us about like the school itself. And then I believe it was a man. He was the head of the computers and the computer labs. I cannot remember his name. But he like showed us the Howard studio, and you know,
Mr. Mosby, Jerry Mosby.
That's what I knew. It was sounding so familiar. Yeah, he showed us the architecture studio, and then when we went to Morgan State, I believe it was like. It was during COVID. I can't remember. It was a couple months ago. I don't remember what month it was. It was really nice, but we didn't get to go inside any buildings. And then when I just got back from Tuskegee, when we went down there, you know, we got like an in-depth like feel of the architecture studios, and then like all the history about the school. So I would say it's like it is really important to like know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. I think the only thing I really looked at was the curriculum. Like I printed out the curriculum and like figured out everything that I would need to take. beforehand, just to see what, my senior year, what I should be taking in my college courses.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really the only
It's,
preparation I did.
it's
And
just you can keep going.
oh, and I was gonna say, because I was in the honors program at Miami-Dade College, so our director, he had me print out things, research things, and gave it to him so he could put me in the classes that I needed before
Mm-hmm.
transfer, so it could be a smoother transfer. So I'm not taking classes a first year or second year should be taking in my fourth year, well, in my third year. So yeah.
It's just really like shocking how some students like just go in there not knowing anything about architecture at all. Like they haven't even like taken into consideration like any of the courses they'd have to take, and they're just like, oh, this sounds fun, I'm gonna take this. It's just really shocking because I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
Just go in.
Yeah.
I just feel like it would be a lot.
And I think not that it's okay to do that, but it's good that, like, for example, I went in with like that mindset, I'm gonna try this. I just knew that I would love things that are very artistic. So I said, let's try this. And I really ended up liking it. But if I didn't, then I would have to do a switch. So that's why I did 2 years first and then transferred to a bigger university, just in case if it wasn't what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm. And Miss oh, you can go on.
At Howard, the first 2 years, they don't let you like make your own classes. Basically, I mean, choose your own classes. Basically, you have to go through the curriculum, like, and you have to follow the curriculum. And then your third year, you finally get to have your registration pin to just, follow your curriculum yourself. And that really helped me because my first year, I knew I would have been taking anything I wanted, like anything. I wouldn't have gotten my actual credits done.
And when I was interviewing Miss Avon a couple of interviews ago, she just really opened my eyes up to like making sure the school you choose is like an accredited school so that everything falls into place. And that knocked a couple of schools off my list actually because I didn't want to have to go through that whole process of finding another school to go to and just all of that. So that's one thing I would also say people should actually like really look into before they just go saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to this school." And then they get stuck. So, what's it like juggling your social life and then also like your major? Because I know each school that I talked to kept saying like you live in the studio and all this other stuff. So, how is it actually like? How do you juggle that?
I don't think I have a social life. To really think about it, I literally live in the studio.
Yeah.
So, what I would say, Fridays is probably the most chill days you can get to go enjoy life outside the studio. But it would be just like Fridays, but I don't really have a social life. My friends see me when the final is over. Like when the final is over, you will see me at that day.
Like freshman year, like I had like a lot of friends, like I was very social, and then, it just got to a point where sorry, I'm in the studio, sorry, I can't, I'm at the studio. So, and thankfully, like everybody in my class is like very like-minded and like all is like goofy in the same way and are all like funny. So it like, we kind of became our own friends by the time it was like third year and all our friends dwindled away. Not to make it sad, but like that's basically what happens. You don't have a lot of time for your friends, and if everybody clicks, then your peers become your friends.
And I would say that would be the best thing going at this university. Well, I would think any studio does that. So everybody would be in there working on the final with you. So you're not alone. That's the best part. Because we all in this struggle together.
Definitely bonding.
Would you say it deals with a lot of just like time management and knowing how not to procrastinate, or is it just like you just gotta go with the flow?
I try time managing it, but it just doesn't. It always end up being like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Still here. So it's not really. Yes, you can find a way to time manage it, but at a certain point, there's gonna be just so much to do, and it's just not enough time because you gotta think like an actual project will probably take years, and you gotta do this in like a month. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it gets like professors will tell you, and I really like need people to like know this. Professors will constantly tell you you are not managing your time correctly, and that is why you're stressed. Like they will tell you that, but like I'm telling you right now, like no, it it doesn't matter how many. I last year I got to a point where I had a journal, like a little like bullet journal, where I documented by the hour, by the minute, every single thing I was doing to like see where my time was going. And it does not matter. You're gonna spend hours doing that project.
Yeah.
It's decided. Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say it's like it's good having people? Because I know like certain majors, some people are just like leave you where you are and like you're on your own. But like, would you say like with the architecture major, it's easier to just like have other people going through it with you?
Yeah.
100% easier. Because when it reached to a point at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and you see all of your classmates there, you're like, wow, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And then at some point, everybody start making jokes about why are we still here? But I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like we all haven't slept in like maybe like 24 hours, but yet it's still, like we find things to joke around, and I feel like that's one of the best experience in architecture school, I would say. Even though
if you definitely see each other at your worst, you're definitely gonna, it's like a sibling relationship at that point. Everybody sees their breakdowns. Like there's no like real privacy if like, you know, every studio is set up like an open floor plan. So even if you have like partitions, everybody sees your breakdown. We're all going through it together.
Because I always thought for some reason I really thought that people were just like over exaggerating when they said that no, you're gonna like be there all day every day. But like now that y'all are saying it, it's kind of like wow.
I had a mentor when I started college, an architecture mentor, and he was like, you're not gonna have any sleep. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. I usually don't sleep. But then he actually meant it. Like I did not sleep. I'm thinking like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you know, but I'm like, this is absurd.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's gonna be once you present your project, it's gonna be worth it. I would say, for students who actually spend that time actually putting the project together, the professors will see that you did not sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it'll be worth it.
So speaking of like instructors, like how like supportive are they and like different like encouraging they are for you to like join like different clubs that deal with your major, and how supportive they are when it comes to like you needing help or you asking questions?
My professors are always there, literally. Professor Asamoah, people are calling her 24/7. I'm just like, leave the lady alone. But she's always there. Professor Daniels, he's always there. So it's very useful to like have professors like that they don't just like give you the work and expect you to just finish it, but they're actually there to help you. And you also have other students, upperclassmen, who are there to help you. So you will not be alone.
Yeah, it's the same. My professors are very like understanding and helpful. There's definitely like one or two that like it doesn't matter. They're the structures professors. It's usually the structures professors. They do not care. You need to get that. Like but everybody else is very, very like understanding and supportive. Like as long as you like communicate and like you're not like last minute communicating, like they'll definitely work with you and be there for you.
So did you guys have any like what's it called? Any mentors that you actually like other than, once you got to college, like did you have any that were like there for you before you even like went to college, I guess? Or that like stuck with you throughout the whole college process and that were like always there?
I would say for me, it would definitely be Mr. Tony. And now I would say in Tuskegee, it will still be Mr. Tony. And I would say, of course, Professor Asamoah and Professor Daniels. I think they have been my mentor throughout, because whenever I have questions like, okay, how much should I charge this person? I'm like, how much should I charge them? So, and they always like talk through me with it. So I always appreciate them for things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think my mentor before wasn't really, there was an architecture related. That was my softball coach, like ever since I was like 6 and through high school, through college. Like still, well, not, I don't play anymore, but I still call him every time I like, have a major problem. I'm like, how do I, because I'm a first generation student and like
Mm-hmm.
it's really, I don't really like know the ropes about things that some people just know because their parents are are American and they like already know everything and like the college application process. Like he was the one that let me know about the FAFSA, everything. Like I needed to. He did the FAFSA with me, and like he was just very supportive through all of it. And my I know I can advisor, that was the college preparatory advisor in my high school. So yeah.
So, what's like the workload like? Because I know that Dr. Daniels, I don't know if he was joking or if he was being serious, but he was like, you have 5 drawings in 1 week. So at the end of the 10 weeks, you have 50 drawings that you actually have to like have. I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot of drawings.
I would say for the workload, I'll say for certain professors like Mr. Daniels, they will overdo it.
That just made me tired hearing that.
but well, it depends really on who the professor is. Some projects are for like the whole semester, and some projects are like per month. So if it's the whole semester, it's not as heavy as a project that would be due in a month. But I'll also say the other challenge would be your other classes outside of architecture because they have no clue that you're not sleeping. So things like physics, calculus, physics and calculus is like the worst combination. But I'll say those would be where most of the workload will come from. Because to be honest, if you enjoy architecture, it's not gonna seem like homework for you. It's gonna be like I get to take a break, but at least for
me. So have you guys like tapped into the type of architecture or like figured out exactly what type of architecture you wanted to do?
So I kind of stepped out of architecture completely. I think that would be interesting. I kind of took the construction route and a really interesting, the virtual design construction. So it's like this super cool, new, innovative technology side of construction that I feel like architects can really dip their feet into. So it deals with virtual reality, and I really fell in love with that through my internship at Mortensen, my 3rd year, I think, the summer of my 3rd year. So it was the role was called Integrated Construction Coordination. So you're basically doing building information modeling, and it was like super cool, big stadium projects that I was doing that for, like Revit modeling, and I got to do like SketchUp and all these like programs where at the end you got to like put on, the VR mask and you got to like see the whole project and just like kiss through it. And I was like, yeah, this is where I'm gonna be. Like that just like really interested me and like kind of kept me in architecture because I knew with my architecture degree that I would get my foot in the door with that. We already deal with Revit and we already know how to build projects. So yeah.
I think right now that is something I'm still trying to like figure out. But right now I'm minoring in historic preservation. And the reason for that, of course, Dr. Daniels, and the reason for that is because I did an internship over the summer with CPDI Africa. And I had the opportunity to research things about Haiti and all that, like all the things that I would never do on my personal time. I had to do it for the internship. And it was really fun. I was like, okay, I need to know how can I preserve these houses in Haiti? And of course, I was like, what best way to minor in historic preservation? So that's why I am minoring in historic preservation. I'm still thinking if I want to do a master's in historic preservation. So that's where my mind is at right now.
Because I know like that is one thing I'm interested in. I'm really interested in historic preservation after talking to just all the people that I've talked to, all the women that I've talked to, and like the different colleges. I'm really interested in like community uplifting things and like different churches or like museums or like cultural things. or just like things like buildings that have history and meaning behind it. So that's one thing that I'm like actually really, really interested in, especially after talking to Miss Zena Howard. She really like opened my eyes up to like a whole new thing. And then like the project that I'm doing right now, it's more like it's more focused on landscape architecture, but like I'm doing a community farm for like a neighborhood with tiny homes, so that like it's just saving the earth, but it's also like helping out people that maybe in a food desert that don't have access to like fresh fruit and just fresh produce. So yeah, I'm really into like environmentalistic things, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That is so.
Yeah, I love the sustainability aspect of architecture. I know, like, I want to like learn how to completely like through the construction side of things build a building, and then I want to go back home for my motherland in Somalia, and I want to like be able to do everything by myself, be that master builder and have a team behind me that I can at the end of the day be like the project manager and do that.
Yeah.
So have you guys participated in any internships? I know Ruchi, you named one of them, but like have you done anything else?
For me, like, well, besides the CPI in Africa internship, that was pretty much it. And because COVID has been a thing, so it's like you wouldn't get like the normal internship. So that's what all the third year, fourth year, fifth year are getting adjusted to.
And yeah, my COVID ruined that internship for me. But last summer I was supposed to be, doing, government projects with Mortensen in DC, and I really wanted to get my hands into that because I know the summer before that I internship with them, but it was with the sports group. So I just did stadium design, and I wanted to see, the ins and outs of a federal building, but that never happened. But this summer I have an internship lined up with Gilbane, and I'm gonna do field engineering this time and see the ins and outs of that.
I know you guys kind of already said like your plans after college, but have you ever like considered actually like either creating your own architecture firm or like going to like a specific one that you're really, really interested in?
I think I'm more on the side of like creating my own practice, but not like right now. It will probably be like something that I create after I actually know, do I want to be in an architecture firm or do I want to go independent? That's only because I'm bossy. So, but I really think like with having my own practice, I can reach people that I want to reach, or where I want to reach, because I know my goal is to always go back to Haiti and just impact the island. So that's where my mindset is at, and that's why I'm currently minoring historic preservation, just in case if I want to go solo, I could have I could know how to do it well.
Yeah, and I know. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, I don't know, like, maybe down the line, if I do, get back interested in architecture, I do see myself as being in my own firm, and I mean having my own firm and not, having someone else, just because I want that, independent project. Like I can have my own like say in what projects I do. That way, like I don't have any, ethics concerns. I don't have, to deal with anything that I'm not liable for personally. So yeah.
But I also know like there's a lot that comes into having your own firm, like getting projects, doing the advertisement for that firm. That would be all on that person. So taking things like that into consideration, I'm just like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do that to myself? But I think when it's time, I will know to have my own practice. So we'll see what life happens.
So with COVID, you can go.
Sorry, it'd be just like for me, I just know that like, sorry, like you say I'm bossy. Like I know I'd want my like hands on on everything that's going on, maybe like that, like just the way as I get older, but I don't think so. Like I think I want my own firm if I am going to get back into architecture.
So with like COVID and everything going on, are you guys like actually on campus, like in the studios, or is it really hard trying to do everything virtually, I guess?
I am currently at home. I would say there is a good and bad to it. I would say it's not as difficult. Well, it's not that hard to be virtually because then you have more. I would say more. It's very flexible. But the only thing is, like, your family don't understand that you're in class and this class is 4 hours long. So I would say, like, when it comes to things like that, it's hard to stay focused and having the space to do your work. I would say that would be the biggest thing. That's one of the things I absolutely miss because I could spend the whole day there and do what I need. But because I'm always home, it's hard to find the space to be home and to do work.
So I had my like own apartment on campus before COVID hit, and then I just, after COVID hit, I was just like, I'm just gonna go home, and that was probably like the worst mistake, like for that semester. Like it was a terrible mistake, and it was too much for me. I can't handle it. Like I couldn't focus, and like architecture is something that's 24. It's 24/7. Like no matter like how much you want to like say, oh, like the time balance, you're still going to be thinking about that project if you don't have the idea done yet. So like having that space to yourself is really, really important. Like having your own desk, having your own like place where you can sketch out, like having your own books, like your own room, even like you just need a place where you can think, and you need to like it needs to be comfortable enough for you to be there all day and not want to like shut down. Because I know like virtually, like even it's just so hard to even sit at the same desk. Like if I'm in this desk and doing Zoom class all day, then I have to like get out and go do homework in like the living room or something. I can't stay in the same place because this kind of becomes my learning area, and then another area becomes my work area, and both areas need to be quiet. And that's something my family is never. So I had to get out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because my dad, I think it was last year, yeah, he bought me like an actual architecture like desk to use, and like it like lifts up and everything. And it's kind of hard to just like sit there and just do schoolwork and homework because I don't know. I just feel like I'm just looking at the same wall, and like I just get blocked. Like all my energy is just like it just shuts down, and it's just really hard to like. I know it's quiet and like I keep my door closed, but sometimes it's just really hard to focus because then I just get in my own thoughts, and then stuff starts distracting me, and then if I'm sitting there for too long, then I just shut down completely. And I know like with school, the first the first semester of this year, we got out of school at 11 something in the morning because we were there from like 7:45. But like now they've like stretched out classes from 7 to 2 in the afternoon, and it's just like I don't know. It's just really hard being in that one space all day, and then on top of that, having to get up and then go to work right after school. It's just like a lot. It's really hard. So I miss actually being in person. I miss like the like the interactions with other people, like teachers, being able to just like go to their classroom and be like, hey, can you help me with this? Because I'm more of like a hands-on learner, and like I can listen to it visually, but sometimes it just goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. I was like, this is why I'm an architecture major. Like I'm a hands-on learner and everyth's just been switched to virtual. Like you have to, now we're like writing more essays.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to do this. So it's just, very like hard to, especially like you're saying, like, like studio culture makes your entire experience. And like being able to get constructive feedback from your peers really makes your project, So just having your own feedback or just your professor's feedback is kind of like, I don't know, like you have to do more research into precedents. You have to do like way more, analysis into your projects just because, you don't have that feedback from other students. So it'd be like, that looks like X project. That looks like X project. Have you looked into this? So getting that feedback is like, I need that back, and I don't know how to like imitate it because nobody wants to go back into Zoom after we've been
exactly.
into Zoom.
It's like once I leave my like Google Meets and stuff like that, I do not want to have to like actually go back in there and talk to like it's just a lot. I'll just wait for the next class to start tomorrow to ask. I don't know.
I think one of the best thing with studio, like she was saying, is how you can literally go to your classmates and copy them. Not copy them, but get a little idea. Get inspired. So I think so just being on virtual, it restricts the students to student communication. Even though sometimes I still reach out to my classmates and be like, oh, what did you think of our presentation and things like that. But the fact that I can't go to my neighbor's desk and be like, hey, what do you think? Or they can even ask me for a question, like ask me some questions. That's different.
And then it's like it's hard to just even do that because it's like everybody's feeling the same way when it comes to just like being online. So it's like if I'm not gonna want to like speak to anybody else or like get back on the call, I know nobody else is gonna want to do it. So it's like we're all just in the same like stuck in the same position, and it's just I don't know, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, and it's like kind of hurting like the student org life also. Like I'm vice president of NOMOS and I'm also part of AIAS, and like we just have not found a way to like get engagement or like do any of these programs. Like nobody wants to come, and like understandably, like I don't even want to come. Like
exactly.
But like we have to like see each other, talk to each other. But like I don't know, like maybe FaceTime, but then that like that cuts off a whole like population.
Yeah.
And then it's like what do you do? What do you do?
So speaking of like student organizations before COVID, how was it like? Explain to me like what y'all like did like community wise or just like project wise.
I would say, well, for NOMAs, because we know that the team that was going to work on it, so we all were in Tuskegee in the fall semester. So that was the thing. We all were there and we all got to work with each other side by side. So that is usually how it usually is. We all gather together and work on it and things like that. For AIS, I would say this semester it's a little bit more challenging because previously they would have meetups, workshops, of course, everyone next to each other. They would have the haunted house. But this year, I'm running out of workshop ideas at this moment. So I would say that would definitely be the good and bad. But I would say for AIS during the fall, they usually have the haunted house in October and things like that, and competitions over the semester, I would say.
Yeah, so like we did the same exact thing. NOMOS does the design competition. AIAS does the workshops, the career workshops as well, the networking. We did like Valentine's Day things. We did St. Patrick's Day things. Like we did things for every single like holiday to get students like our biggest like force basically. I mean our biggest like mission as student organizations in architecture was to get people like happy in the student in the studio. So like anything we could do, like snacks, food, we were there to help students and be a service to students.
And one thing that we focus on is mentorship, because we know that for students who have no idea what they're getting themselves to in architecture, it's always helpful to have an upperclassman. So that's one of the things that AIS and NOMAs are focused on, is making sure that students have mentors to guide them and to help them throughout their architectural career.
So did you guys get to like while with being in college, have you went to like any firms and actually like shadowed anybody? Because I think it was sometime last fall. I went to Evoke Studios in Durham, and I actually got to shadow Miss Terry Canada, and it was really nice, and it was good to see like even though some people were at home on the computers and some people were actually in person, it was good to just get a feel of like what it would be like working in like an office studio.
Yeah. I think I can't remember what class it was, but we definitely did go on field trips to firms. I don't know if it was our studio class. I cannot remember for the life of me, but we were definitely going to studios and we got to see like, hands-on, face-to-face experience of what, you know, like you said, the architecture firm looked like. And, you know, I was so surprised to see that it was basically the same studio culture that we were doing. I was like, oh God, it's never ending. But, you know, just joking. But yeah, it was a, you know, really eye-opening experience because, you know, I wouldn't have known what, you know, the architecture firms would be like after I graduated had or after I interned, you know.
Yeah. I personally haven't been to a architecture studio physically, but Dr. Daniel's always taking people on field trips. He will find a way to get you out into some type of architecture. So I find that very important because sometimes we can so restrict it to the studio. But Professor Daniels will also find like ways to bring you to an actual house that the Tuskegee community is trying to build. So he brought us there and we went through the attic of the house. I'm like, I am going but it was a dope moment because he taught us something about how the roof, it opens up and then it closes up. I'm like, I don't know. But I think so it was just like going through things like that to see how Professor Tuskegee kind of really show students the importance of architecture, even going through like a house attic and just showing you architectural things. I find like that is super important and you wouldn't find that anywhere else.
Yeah. And I know in my class, I don't know if you took it, but the materials and methods class, we usually went on field trips to like actually see construction sites. And, you know, that was great to see because, you know, that kind of got me more interested in construction to actually see, you know, like firsthand what's going on now, what's being built, rather than just seeing the drawing of it.
So what would you guys say it's like being a female in most of your classes? Like, is it a very off female to male ratio, or is it just like kind of equal?
Howard is very, like, our program is probably, I'll say, like 90% female. Like right now, it's very female oriented, and it's crazy because like the statistics don't show this at all, and like it's crazy because like it's all we're all well, not all, but we're all like, you know, it's about 98% Black as well, so it's like the pretty, like, you know, you're not going to see this in the field. And I kind of like it's a bittersweet feeling because, you know, like I don't want to get used to it too much, but I also am glad that like this is how I'm starting out and this is my first, you know, network at, you know, and then later on.
I would say in Tuskegee, it's there's more males than females, but in my studio, it was once upon a time it was equal. But then we got more males than females now. But I would say overall, you usually find more males than females. And I would say as a female architecture student, you definitely have to work, I would say, me personally, twice as hard to not playing catch up, but really just work twice as hard because just how life is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just for me, I'm always there doing as much or more just to make sure that I'm here and you're gonna see that I'm here, you know. So yeah.
It's like in my drafting classes that I'm in right now, like when we were in person, it would be kind of awkward and it would kind of make me feel uncomfortable because it was like I feel like they all looked at me as if I was just there to take the class. Like I didn't know what I was doing. But then it got to a point where they were asking me for help because I had already finished all my stuff because that's just how I guess it's just how I was. And, like, I didn't want to look like just a black girl that doesn't know what she's doing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get this done and I'm going to learn it and I'm going to make sure I know it because then when they ask me for help, it's like I can tell them how it is. So that's one like motivation for me doing blackgirlsDRAW was because, you know, when I was at a young age, I had no idea anything about architecture. I mean, I knew like, you know, there's arts and crafts and like Legos and stuff like that, but like I never actually like took it seriously, and I wish I had something like this when I was younger. So, you know, I just want to like put a little like memory in little girls' minds, like, and when they get older and be like, oh, I remember when I had an interest in this, let me go back and look at it. If it actually gets them somewhere, that's just the only thing that really matters to me. So what's some advice that you would give anybody looking to go to a HBCU for architecture?
Don't give up.
You can
Don't give up. Make sure you want to do it. Make sure this is what you're passionate about. Really do your research. I did not, I feel like I really, by the grace of God, am still here. Like, I feel like every single barrier that, couldn't get me here kind of just dissolved as I kept going. So I feel like as long as you know exactly what you want to do in the end with this, you have that motivation to keep going and you're not going to give up when you have that. So definitely make sure that this is where you want to be because you will get tested every day to prove that this is where you want to be.
Yeah. And I would say one thing is going to an HBCU and studying architecture. I think it's really helpful because I get to learn about who I am as a person and about architecture in this at the same time. So especially for like historic preservation, getting to understand the people who have really paved the pathway for me to be there. So going into any firm, I already know who I am and the talent and the talented people who already had paved that pathway for me. That's one of the best things going to HBCU architectural program is because when you go into the workforce, you already know who you are. You don't have to try to figure out, trying to fit in with people because you already know that we already dope, So I'll say that's one of the best thing because you don't have to look for people validation because he already tell you who you are. So
Yeah.
And really, like coming into architecture school, you kind of have to learn not to take things personal. Like you said, you kind of have to already have a backbone when you come in because you will have professors where you go, like you will spend hours, nights, days doing this project, and they'll take your project that you've made, blood, sweat, tears, and rip it up in front of you. Like they will do that. So you have to you have to like stand there and like really not take that personal and not, feel away and have that affect you to a point where it's like hurting your mental or hurting you emotionally because, it's not personal. They just want you to get better. Like they want you to, when you get to the firm, like you said, nobody can talk about you. You know what you're doing. You're walking your walk and you're talking your talk.
Now, adding to that, you just really have to be able to take criticism. And I think that wasn't something that I'm used to. So going to architecture, I'm like, I know they are not telling me that this is not right. So I think that is something that I had to get used to, knowing that, if it's not good, you got to go back and fix it up. But I would say one way to avoid that is to always make sure that you're communicating with your professor, asking questions. Don't just come on the final and present your project. So I would definitely show your process and talk to them. And so when the final comes, you already know your project as much as you or even better than you. So they are not like tearing you apart and things like that. So it's just a matter of communicating with your professor, asking them, is this right? Sending it to them and making sure that this is going the right direction because you don't want to come to final day and they're like, what is this?
Right. And sorry, you just gave me another one. Practice public speaking. Public speaking. Like you're gonna have to you literally have to defend yourself in front of a jury and you have to present your case like a lawyer. And probably like Law and Order helped me through this. Like I already knew because I love Law and Order. But like you also have to tread that line between getting too defensive and like backing your project, because professors are like, they're gonna be like, like I just don't like this. But you have to know that that's their opinion. Like that's an opinion. You can't take it like I'm gonna take what this professor says and I'm gonna completely model my project after what this professor says. Because when it comes to the jury, they don't know what happened between you and your professor. They are gonna tear that project apart, and your professor's not gonna defend you. Like you have to know what you're talking about at the end of the day, and own your work.
And I would say for me, that was one of the biggest thing is actually practicing public speaking because I am not the greatest speaker. I would have a dope project, but I cannot explain what I did. It just happened. So I'll say for me, practicing that is something that I'm still working on to make sure that I'm hitting the points that I like, hitting the main points that I want them to focus on. Don't start with the negative because it's just gonna drill you on that negative point and all those things. So one thing is to always like practice before a couple of your friends, explain to them the project so you can have some words that you want to pull out. So when it comes to presenting in front of a jury, it could be better presented.
Right.
Well, I just want to thank you guys so much for actually letting me talk to you guys, because this is like, other than another young lady that I talked to, you guys are the first actual like students that I've actually got to get in contact with and actually hear what it really is like going to. Because I feel like other people just try to really like sugarcoat it, especially like the professors, because they just want you to go there. So I really do appreciate you guys actually letting me speak to you and get the real deal tea on what it's like going to HBCU. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I feel like this is such an important program that you have on. I know if I knew about this, like I would have been in architecture. I wouldn't have even been thinking about engineering. So this is such an important thing because, you really don't know, especially when you are in spaces where, there's no, diversity, or you have people that are your same income or your same, look like you in the same environment. You won't be exposed to architecture. You really won't be exposed to, different things too much. So, thank you for having this so much. I'm so excited to keep in touch with you.
Yeah, I'll definitely say the same thing because this is such an amazing platform that you have created. And I'm just still amazed that you and your parents took the time out to create something like this, because in the couple of years, this is going to blow up. And you have no idea, you have an idea, but you're gonna take this so far, and it might become an organization like AIAS and to connect to other students, or even NOMAs might want to partner with you and have you connect with other students as well. So this is amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank everybody for watching and tuning in. And we posted the new link for the next session we're gonna hold with the young girls. So you guys should be on the lookout for that. And I just want to thank you guys again, and I ask that we can, stay in touch just in case I have a few
Definitely.
questions. So I just want to say thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. You're welcome.